welcome to World War G. I'm Troy.
Troy is literally one of a kind. He's a goblin or a hobbit or a kobold, which is a type of gremlin.
I'm AJ.
AJ? What kind of name is AJ? Oh, you race cars?
Okay. Let me first start out by apologizing to you, AJ, to the people listening, to the entire world, essentially, for accidentally killing Betty White.
Just, 17, 18 days shy of turning 100.
I didn't know the power this podcast wielded. I'm sorry.
Troy.
Had I known...
Troy, with great power comes great responsibility.
Well, if you don't know what we're talking about, 2 weeks ago, we were talking, we had a story about Betty White's 100th birthday celebration they were going to do. It's going to be a movie in theaters.
Yeah.
Well, this is what we said.
That's way cool. I thought for sure, Stan Lee would have broken the 100 mark, but Betty White.
Now it's Betty White and it's Dick Van Dyke. Of course, Dick Van Dyke's a youngster. He's only 96.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's kind of a race to the grave between those two. I'm pretty sure Betty White will win. How sad will it be if she dies before this movie comes out?
Oh.
Way sad. When is it supposed to be released exactly?
January 17th.
No, she's going to hold out. She's going to hold out. It's like those elderly people that hold out past the holidays, because they want to see their family again, and then they, go. I think she's going to hold out for the movie. And then just all right, peace out.
So she'll be... Yeah.
Emily straight up on Facebook blamed me for this.
Yeah. Again, I apologize.
I'm sorry as well.
Had I known what this podcast could do, I never would have said anything.
I know you're not too familiar with anime, but there's an anime out there called Death Note, where this kid gets his book, right?
I'm very aware of that.
Okay. So, we basically have a Death Note when it comes to this podcast. A death cast. Spooky. So, you better be kind to us, is all I'm saying.
It'd be such a shame if, Donald Trump died, shortly into this new year. That'd be a real shame. Definitely would not want that to happen. How sad would it be if that happened?
Now it's a race between, him and somebody else.
It's a race between him and Dick Van Dyke.
To the grave.
To the grave. I think Donald Trump will win.
I like how you're using the exact phrasing.
Well, it's like a magic spell, I guess. You gotta do the exact words.
Yeah.
All right. So again, apologies. Don't hate us too much. But all right, let's get to today in Geek History.
Look, up in the sky, it's a bird.
It's a plane.
And today in Geek History.
Today, January 2nd, in 1967, Ronald Reagan, past movie actor and future president of the United States, was sworn in as governor of California. Speaking of, presidential figures and whatnot.
Right.
Did you ever see any of Ronald Reagan's movies?
No.
Neither have I.
Never have.
They say that he was a movie star, and I'm like, can't name a movie.
First, I think he was for a second.
Yeah.
Back in the 50s, but...
That's what it seems like politics are. It's kind of a celebrity / popularity contest.
It's definitely what it is now, yes.
In 1974, United States President Richard Nixon signed a bill lowering the maximum speed limit to 55 in order to conserve gasoline.
More president stuff. And I'm sure that worked.
Yeah.
Because everybody follows the speed limit to a T.
Okay, like you have no idea. Sometimes with these lists, I'll go through and look to see if there was any movies that were released, any geeky news. Like I do my due diligence, and sometimes, some days in history.
That's fine. I'm not getting on your case.
No, I didn't feel
Getting all defensive.
No, I'm just saying. That was more for the listeners than for myself.
Gotcha.
But I do have to talk about one holiday that I think we need to start celebrating.
All right.
It's called It's a Scottish holiday called First Footing. It's still common over in Scotland. To ensure good luck for the house, the first foot should be a dark-haired male, and he should bring him a symbolic piece of coal, shortbread, salt, black bun, and a wee drab of whiskey. First foot refers to when someone walks into their house on after the New Year, after they've been celebrating Hagamar celebration, like January 2nd, before they go back to work on January 3rd. So it's basically like they're bringing in a hangover cure.
Okay.
Is what it kind of felt like.
Interesting.
I'm like, why aren't we celebrating this over in the U.S.?
Well, I mean, it is Scotland, so that would make sense.
Yeah. Do you know what the difference between a Scottish funeral and a wedding is?
What?
One less drinker?
Yeah. And I don't know what you're talking about. Look, in 1962, the nighttime version of Password debuted.
Oh, yeah.
Alan Ludden. But Alan Ludden was the longtime husband of Betty White.
Okay.
See, it all ties around.
It does. It goes full circle.
And in 1990, Sting joins pro wrestling's legendary Four Horsemen.
Oh, yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah, why did I bring up this news?
This is a red letter day. Sting joining the Four Horsemen. It was a big deal. Because he and Ric Flair were rivals. So how could they possibly get along on one team?
The drama.
Exactly. I don't know how you missed it. It was right there.
For the taking.
All right.
Just like the belt. Which Ric Flair...
Ric Flair's won 16 times.
Has he really?
Yes.
Oh, wow, okay.
Of course, that just means he's also lost it 16 times.
Ooh, that's true. Yeah.
All right. Is that everything? Is that all you got?
That is
all right.
It.
Then let's get to This Week in Geek.
This Week in
Geek.
So This Week in Geek, let's try to compress it. Because we got our top 10 best and worst movies of 2021.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure we'll probably spend a few minutes on that. So
Just a couple.
So, one of the major sculptors, find out why that's funny later, of our childhood has passed away. You may not know the name, T. Mark Taylor, but you've seen his work. Because he was a toy designer. And a couple of the famous toy lines he designed, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Hot damn.
The original.
I did like, okay.
I mean, just think, without this guy, what would our childhood be?
Nothing. Yeah.
It would have been boring.
We would have just had to play with toys, that could really hurt us.
Exactly. We'd be out there with lawn darts.
Rocks and sticks. And...
Yeah.
No, but it's interesting because the Ninja Turtles have a very specific look, but they don't look overly buff.
Yeah.
Right? And then you got He-Man on the other side. That the dude's got like a 24-pack. Mm-hmm. Along with, I don't even know what the hell those are on the sides there.
Yeah.
It's a little some bumps. I don't know.
Lats. I don't know.
We're looking at ourselves as if we got them.
I know. Like, well, let me check. Let me check my body. And I'll let you know. Yeah, he was a toy designer who died. He was 80 years old, died in Southern California. Yeah, his figures sold. Mattel sold more than 70 million action figures from its Masters of the Universe collection within 30 months after it hit the stores nearly 40 years ago.
That was the whole reason for TMNT, right? It's for merchandise. A large.
Well,
large
I mean,
part of
obviously the comic book was first.
Correct. Yeah. No, but like
And
for them to
then-
do a television show.
I think the TV show came first, and then the merchandise.
Okay.
I think. I know with He-Man, it was the toys first.
Right.
Or, yeah. Yeah, it was the toys first, and then the TV show came out as a way to promote the toys.
Right.
I could be mistaken, but I think that's the case.
Well, Norman Reedus is fueled by fire and looks to be joining the MCU as Ghost Rider, or at least he expressed interest on his Twitter account. There had been fan art that people had put out, and the picture actually looks pretty legit, like half skull, flamed, and half his face.
Mm-hmm.
I think because he's such a big motorcyclist enthusiast, that's why fans love him.
Yeah, that's why the rumor started.
Right?
Which is all it is.
Yeah.
It's all it is.
I mean, it'd be fine, but we've seen plenty of celebrities that have been able to ride motorcycles that can act.
Well, and that's the key there would be to the ability to act.
Yeah.
Norman Reedus isn't winning any awards for his acting ability. Just saying. And with a character like Ghost Rider and Johnny Blaze, it's almost, you got to have some sort of range,
Right. To be able to, to convey these different emotions.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Nick Cage, say what you will with his performance, but at least he brought a lot to it. Now, it may have been too much, but he brought a lot to that role.
Right.
Yeah. I don't think it'd be that good.
No, I think it would be a much more grounded MCU movie than what we've seen before.
Yeah, no, I want a Ghost Rider film.
Oh, for sure.
An MCU, just not with him.
Top picks? Any in particular? It's difficult because there's been so many great actors that have played these iconic characters, right?
Not Ghost Rider.
No, I'm saying like in the MCU.
Oh, yeah.
Do we grab somebody from the DC universe and bring them over to the dark side? The light side?
I don't know. Maybe you go... I don't know. Maybe go with an unknown?
Okay. What do you do, story-wise?
I have no idea. I mean, I don't know that much about Ghost Rider, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I suppose you do his origin again, but...
Better?
Yeah, or... It might be cool to even have flashbacks of Ghost Riders in the past, because they've done that. Because the Spirit of Vengeance has always kind of existed, and he picks a different rider.
Right.
So there's been a cowboy one, and I think there's
which that's just
several
the complete opposite. Similar but different to how Green Lantern is chosen, right?
Yeah.
But this is more of an evil version of Green Lantern.
Yeah, it's not so much a ring as it is a vengeful spirit demon. I don't know. I think maybe you get an unknown. They had a really good Ghost Rider on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
That was one of their better story arcs. So I don't know, maybe could bring him in. Since they're bringing in, Matt Murdock and Wilson Fisk and all these people from the TV shows.
Right.
Why not bring in him?
Easy enough. Why are we making it over? Why are we over complicating things? Right?
Exactly. We already have a Ghost Rider there. Just use him. Yeah. Well, from motorcycles to cars, James Bond's stolen 25 million Aston Martin is found after nearly 25 years. So after being stolen nearly 25 years ago, one of the Aston Martins used during the production of 1964's Goldfinger has been found.
Did they make any arrests?
Let's see. So while the original 1963 DB5 is already a relatively rare car, one of the 4 models used on Goldfinger was made into a one-of-a-kind vehicle after it was fitted with a host of Bond gadgets for the film. Let's see. The car, which was purchased by a private collector in the mid-1980s, was subsequently stolen out of a secure Florida airport hangar in 1997. Its fate left entirely unknown. For years, Bond fans everywhere have speculated about what became the iconic British sports car. Now, however, a new report from Yahoo claims that the long-time missing DB5 has finally been found. An unnamed individual has been able to verify the vehicle through its serial number, confirming it is the one that went missing. The exact whereabouts have not been revealed, but it's said to be somewhere in the Middle East.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
In some sort of a private collection?
Maybe. I don't see if any arrests have been made.
Okay, so the person stole it, drove it off, ended up selling it to somebody. It's probably exchanged hands a couple of times.
Probably.
Right? And then it gets to this one collector, and then that's why they're not verifying, or saying who it is that actually verified the vehicle by its VIN. Because, yeah, he could get killed.
Yeah, maybe it was some, Mid Eastern prince or something. It was a big James Bond fan that bought it. But it's been returned. It's been found.
Has it been returned? To U.S. soil?
I believe so. Or British soil.
British soil?
One of the two.
Huh.
There's some soil where it belongs. It is now back to.
I want the full details, though, eventually. They need to, come to light.
Maybe they'll come out.
The Halo series is something that has a special place in gamers' hearts. In fact, it appears that the series is so influential that it has made its mark outside of gaming as well. Citizens of Seattle welcome in the new year with Halo-themed playing at the Space Needle. Every single year, for quite a few years, Seattle has been known for their spectacular firework and light show that they put on at the Space Needle.
Mm-hmm.
It did get canceled back in 2019 because of the wind, and in 2020, we're not going to talk about that year.
Yeah.
So, 2020. But this year, if you get a chance, go online and check out this. It is so cool. It's pretty impressive. It was let's see. Apparently, the DJ at the Space Needle celebration is a video game fan and has a sense of humor to delight the surprised longtime fans of Halo 2 theme featuring during the celebration. So, I think this has something to do with Halo Infinite coming out, or out.
Probably.
Yeah. They kind of went along with that. But I was going to, mention this. Far too often, these creators, these composers for video game music don't get the recognition that they deserve. Because fans of the franchise or fans of other video games would just say, it was a fantastic game. I was really moved by the story. But you're moved by that story because of the music and the score.
Right, yeah.
And I can think of countless games that wouldn't be the same without some sort of a compelling song to go alongside it.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're right. Video game music doesn't always get the recognition it deserves, but...
Because far too often people are thinking Tetris, Just
Super Mario.
yeah, just songs. I mean, they're iconic in their own right, but at the same time, they just are really repetitive.
Yeah.
But you don't like think of an actual score being put on top of this game
Right.
or a game.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And think about what your game would be like if it didn't have any music to it.
Right.
Pretty boring.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Whenever like I'm kind of like rating a video game, I go off of story, score, and visuals. I can get away with like it not being the most impressive or visually game, or even if it's like an 8-bit game.
Yeah.
If it has an amazing score and a fantastic story, like I'm still sold on it.
Yeah. Trying to think. Yeah, I mean, we don't always realize how much music has an influence on the stuff we like.
Yeah.
Think about some of your favorite movies, some of those iconic scores that they've had, you don't even think about. They're in the background, but you don't even think about them. And you don't even miss it till it's gone.
Right.
Right? And then you'll look back and be like, wait, that movie didn't have any music in it. That was weird.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's cool when a director can also take away music and it completely changes the mood.
And it does. Yeah. 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 That's cool though. I don't know if I would have known that it was Halo, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Cuz I'm not a big Halo fan.
That's like one of the few reasons I would get an Xbox is for Halo and maybe Gears of War.
Mhm.
Those are like two of the big exclusives that I would really be interested in, but there's not enough exclusive games to get me to go to the dark side.
I mean, I remember playing a few Halo parties back in the day.
Oh yeah.
And they were fine, but it was never enough to be like, I gotta go get this game.
It was no James Bond, GoldenEye.
No.
Smash Bros.
No. All right. So a little while ago, hang on. A little while ago, Vin Diesel put out this, I think it was a tweet, and he wanted Dwayne Johnson to come back to the Fast and Furious franchise. Let's see. I'm trying to see if I can find the quote. He said, but anyway, he basically said, hey, this is what he said right here. My brother Dwayne, the time has come. The world awaits the finale of Fast 10. As you know, my children refer to you as Uncle Dwayne in my house. There is not a holiday that goes by that that you don't send well wishes. By the time has come, legacy awaits. And he was doing an interview with CNN, and he said he was, quote, very surprised by his former Fast and Furious co-star Vin Diesel, who asked him to return to the franchise. He said, this past June, when Vin and I actually connected, not over social media, I told him directly and privately that I would not be returning to the franchise, Johnson said. It was firm yet cordial with my words. I was firm yet cordial with my words and said that I would always be supportive of the cast and always root for the franchise to be successful, but there was no chance I would return. I privately spoke with my parents, with my partners at Universal as well, all of whom were very supportive as they understand the problem. Vin's recent public post was an example of his manipulation, he said. I didn't like that he brought up his children in the post as well as Paul Walker's death. Leave them out of it. We had spoken months ago about this and came to a clear understanding.
Oh, wow. See, here I thought he was going to... Well, we all know The Rock is a huge name and he would bring in a shit ton of money.
Sure it would.
Right?
Yeah.
And do you think Universal or somebody like reached out to Vin and said, hey, we need you to make some sort of heartfelt post to get The Rock in here? Like, we want to make so much money on this movie.
I don't think...
Or was this like
I think
genuine...
this was all Vin.
Okay.
Because The Rock was in the franchise
Right.
for a few movies,
From like what?
and
4, 5?
5 and 6, maybe 7.
They'll blend
but
together.
he and Vin kind of had a bit of a falling out,
Right.
and so now it seems like even though they talked, Vin is trying to come off as like the bigger man. Like,
Right.
hey, let's put all this aside. Let's put our feud aside. The public demands that you do this. And it's like, so if The Rock doesn't do it, all of a sudden it's like he's turning his back on the public.
Yeah.
The
people.
people.
But he's the people's champion.
Exactly. So when he says this is example of his manipulation, that's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
It's like, we've already discussed this. I'm not coming back.
Right.
So him posting this is just him saving face.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is fine. I mean, that for some unexplicable reason, I've seen every one of those films, including the newest one. I don't know why. I just go out and see them. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
They're not good.
No.
I mean, it'd be cool to have him come back, but it's not needed or necessary.
You don't think he's gonna pull Anthony Garfield,
Garfield,
or Andrew, and just kind of surprise everybody?
No.
He's like,
I honestly doubt it. I mean, there's such bad blood between those two.
Oh yeah.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
I still think it's interesting and funny that they have written in their contracts that they couldn't lose a fight.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. All right. Now, with...
Oh, I've got one final story.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. Oh, that's right, you do. Sorry, go ahead.
No worries. Airbnb will hide its guest's name to fight discrimination, but only in Oregon. Airbnb announced that it's changing its ways to the guest profile are displayed on the app. So what they're going to do is you can only see the initials of the individual that's looking to rent your room, because they've had issues in the past where they've even, like when they would throw in other names. Let's see, sit down here. In 2016, they did a study where they found that Airbnb guests with names that sounded black were 16% less likely to have booked confirmations than guests that had white-sounding names. I'm like, oh my hell, okay.
And sadly, I can believe this story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But moving forward, starting January 31st, that's going to be changing. They are also having all of their Airbnb hosts, I guess, signing an agreement, voluntary, some sort of voluntary settlement agreement that if they do any of this stuff, which Airbnb, I've stayed at 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah, me too.
They're perfectly fine. Like, it's an interesting concept, but it works.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever you can't find some sort of place or hotel, or if you have a larger group of people, they work great.
Sure. I always thought it was a little weird that you're staying in someone's house.
Same.
Yeah. Like just showing up at someone's house and just walking in, it feels really weird to me.
So when I was in Toronto, and there was a couple of my friends and we all got an Airbnb because we wanted to be close to downtown.
Mm-hmm.
We walked into the person's house, and then they were like, hey, would you mind just kind of taking your shoes off? So we'd take our shoes off upstairs. Then you'd walk around the corner, go downstairs into the basement because they didn't have like a separate entrance. Like, it was just the style.
Yeah.
But yeah, you had to like take off your shoes, walk past them. There's their dinner table right in their kitchen, right there, like kind of wave or something, and then walk around down to the basement to go to your room.
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird. It's weird.
I don't mind it so much. Like, the only other one that I've stayed at is in St. George, but we had the whole run of the place.
Yeah.
And they just said, hey, the keys are left on this pad. Here's the code.
Yeah,
get into it.
Yeah, if you do that, then that's different. But when there's somebody else there, like when you hear their kids run around upstairs, and you're like trying to spend some alone time with like the GF, or whatever. It's a bit of a mood killer.
I couldn't remember if they actually disclosed whether it was just like half a house or if they were going to be there but I'm glad that they're like taking steps to better it, but that's still who the hell cares?
Yeah, who cares?
If they've got the money, they pay for it, they keep it like the place nice. I don't fucking care who's going to be there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why does one person's money matter above somebody else's?
Right.
It's all the same. It's all the same money.
Mm-hmm. We might not all be the same color, but money is green.
That's right. All money is green. Well, American money.
Yeah. I don't know. I was trying to be like all profound.
I get it. Yeah. I got it. All right. Now, since the year is 2021 is over. It's a new year.
It's so weird though, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
It takes me about like 6 months before I can write down 2022 or the right year when I'm writing dates.
We thought it would be fun to put together our list of the worst and best movies of 2021. Now, we haven't discussed this really with each other, what's going to be on it, so chances are there's probably going to be some doubles.
Yeah. And it'll be interesting to see where they actually stack up, whether you thought it was like better than I did or worse.
Yeah, no, these are not, I mean, these are in a particular order, like, yeah.
So, we're starting worst?
Worst, yep.
And so how I like numbered this is I went 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 until I got to the worst movie of the year. So number 10, without further ado, Willy's Wonderland. That was the Nicolas Cage movie, where it's basically a ripoff of Five Nights at Freddy.
That's right. I remember hearing about that.
It was it was campy, it was cheesy, but it wasn't like there are worse offenders on this list.
Sure.
It had a couple of like moments that were like you had to embrace it, similar to the Fast and the Furious franchise. You just had to kind of embrace it, and you knew what you were getting into when you were watching it. But where he's killing people left and right, I found myself laughing a couple of times. So
all right.
Yeah, number 10.
Why don't you just run through your list and I'll run through mine.
Fair enough. Number 9. Space Jam: A New Legacy.
I never saw that one. Couldn't bring myself to.
I was just like, well, it's not the worst because, I cared for some of the tunes, but it was also cheesy, campy. LeBron can't act, and him, it seemed kind of like a weak reason. And then his son, like, who wants to play basketball, gets in there, and he's part of the villain's crew. And,
yeah. It sounds pretty paint by numbers in a sequel that really nobody asked for or wanted.
Yeah.
According to the box office.
Number 8, The Green Knight. I'd gone into this movie with high expectations. I'd seen some stuff. It looked almost Hereditary-esque. Some of the visually, it was pretty impressive, but the overall story on it sucked ass. It was, it was not that great. Number 7, Unholy.
Okay. So far, none of these have been on my list.
Unholy, once you actually got to the very end, it was awful. It was not great, which really sucks because I do like the actor. Number 6, The Little Things. Now this one was on HBO, but it was also in theaters for a limited run. I thought because it had Jared Leto, Denzel Washington, and Rami Malek, right?
I completely forgot about that.
I thought it was going to be so damn good. And I'm like, oh, this has got a great cast. This is going to be true detective-esque. It's going to be dark and gritty. And it was just stupid. And then when you're seeing Denzel Washington being haunted by ex-lovers.
Right.
And how it ended, I was not impressed.
Yeah. I totally
There was
forgot that movie
a couple
existed.
of scenes that were pretty cool, and that's why I kind of let it slide. But
Alright.
it fits right in the middle.
Okay.
Number 5, The Forever Purge.
Hmm.
As much as I loved the Purge series, this one was garbage. It wasn't great at all. It was way too political and stupid and trash, which sucks because I like the whole Purge universe,
Mhm.
and then they just made this abomination.
It seems like they're doing like what they're doing with The Conjuring or Paranormal Activity. It's like they're just trying to squeeze as much money
Yeah,
out of this franchise as they can.
which kind of makes sense because it's brought to us by the people that did the Paranormal Activity
Sure.
and the Saw franchise.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And they just don't know when to quit.
no. Number 4, The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard.
Okay. Still, none of these are on my list.
Really?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Yeah, Ryan Reynolds just phoned this one in. It was trash. It wasn't good at all. Yeah.
A Ryan Reynolds movie was trash.
Which is
Weird.
weird because I've actually got one of his movies on my top 10 best.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So he can act. So that's why I was like really disappointed about it. Number 3, Those Who Wish Me Dead. This one was the Angelina Jolie movie.
Oh, right.
Where she played a fire, well, like a smoke jumper. That whole end scene, it could have been pretty cool, where she's hiding in the smoke and the fire and going back and forth, but she weighed like maybe 85 pounds, and like I don't know, to see, yeah, she did not do well in this one.
I don't go out of my way to see Angelina Jolie films.
No.
Like, to me, she's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not rushing out to watch her movies.
Number 2, Don't Breathe 2. This one was the sequel to Don't Breathe, which I thought, like, Don't Breathe, it was pretty decent. It had a couple of, like, suspenseful moments, but this one, they went a completely different direction with it. The only character that was the same was the dude in the first one, like the villain, I guess you could call him, in the first one, but the rest of it was a completely different crew. And he's going around he became more of like a Liam Neeson Taken kind of a guy, where he's trying to get this girl back and he's doing the right thing. It's just like, no, he was fucked up in the first one. He did some weird, nasty shit.
Yeah, there's no turkey baster in this one?
No. And number 1, care to guess what it is?
I have no idea.
Malignant.
Oh, of course. Of course.
I know there was people that like loved this movie and raved about it, but once I actually saw, I don't even care. Okay, the creature in the back of her head was actually the one, like her brother. He was actually the monster. So she would go into this like paralysis where she wouldn't remember what would happen. Like she could kind of see some stuff that happened, but then she was wondering if she was the killer or if it was somebody else, and why she's having this connection with the killer. And then come to find out the killer is just like strapped to the back of her head, and it snaps her arms around backwards.
Like Voldemort in the first Harry Potter film.
Yeah! It snaps her arms around backwards and like has her walking backwards and jumping around, jabbing people in the head. I was laughing so damn hard at it, like this jail scene that they had where she's like stabbing people left and right. But the acting was trash. The only cool thing about this movie was like, it was kind of cool to see like a top-down view of this house. But other than that, no,
That was the coolest part?
Yeah, that was the best part.
Top-down view of a house?
Because it was kind of interesting because you could see all 3 layers. Like, you could see down to the basement. You could see all these floors. So when they showed it from above, you could kind of, like, go into these other rooms. And as she's being chased, it was... Visually, that was kind of impressive.
Okay.
Like, I hadn't seen that in a movie before, but it was bad.
All right.
So there's my worst.
All right.
Did none of those make your list?
No.
Oh, wow, okay.
No. All right. Do you have any honorable or dishonorable notices?
No, I have some honorable mentions,
Or mentions?
for best, but not for worst.
Okay. All right. I have a few dishonorable mentions that didn't make the cut on the list, like Mortal Kombat, Godzilla vs. Kong, F9, Zack Snyder's Justice League. Yeah.
Those ones were pretty bad.
So, let's get to mine. Number 10. Red Notice.
Oh, okay. Ryan Reynolds and The Rock.
Ryan Reynolds, The Rock, Gal Gadot. Now, even the way I feel about Ryan Reynolds, I mean, you got Dwayne Johnson and Gal Gadot, so you think, okay, it's going to be at least got some cool action or something.
Yeah. No.
No, the film was garbage. It's like it's like they were just phoning it in.
Yeah.
Number 9. A Quiet Place 2.
Yeah. I didn't see it, but it probably would have made my list.
Yeah. With the first one being so, like, visually interesting and kind of innovative in what they were doing.
They had a cool world there, for sure.
Number 9. Number 2 just... It took that premise and just, like, really stretched it as far as they could. And it was all about the girl with the hearing aid, and it was fine, but it could not hold up to the first one.
See, that's why I can see that it's down towards the bottom. Like it like had some redeeming qualities.
I mean, it was fine.
Yeah,
but number 7, Jungle Cruise.
Okay.
Again, Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah. Which is unfortunate because, like, from the get-go, I did think it had a little potential where he's doing those cheesy, campy jokes.
Yeah.
Right? I'm like, oh, this is kind of funny. That Jaguar looked stupid.
Oh, it's so bad. Like, they weren't even trying.
No, and then it went all Pirates of the Caribbean. Where, with that feather leaf or whatever the hell.
Yeah, it's like they were trying to recapture Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
And it just... No.
Oh, it's already greenlit for the sequel, though.
Yeah, of course it is. Because it probably made $1 billion.
Yeah.
Because it's Disney. Number 6. Venom, Let There Be Carnage.
Yeah, I can see that, yeah.
Now, I guess you could say with this list, it's more worse/disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
Because, again, Venom had so much potential.
Yeah.
You're going to have Carnage in there, two going at it. And the battles were actually cool when the two were fighting.
In that church scene was pretty cool, yeah.
It's just everything leading up to that was not good.
Right.
Yeah. Number 5, The Eternals. Talk about disappointing. Like, I was just bored.
Yeah.
You know? And I saw it twice. I gave it 2 chances, and I was just bored. Plus, way too many characters to keep track of. And you just didn't care. And
yeah. Ugh. Which is unfortunate because that was wasn't that one of the first Marvel movies out of the pandemic?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Mm-hmm. So you're like, oh, this has got to be good.
Yeah. Let's see. What was that? 9, 8, 7. That was number 6. Number 5, Nightmare Alley. And I'll get to my review here at the end. But essentially, it didn't know what it was trying to be.
Yeah.
It didn't know what genre it was trying to fit into. Number 4. I missed one here. I'm going to have to... All right, let's do this. Number 4, The Kingsman.
Oh, wow.
And I'll talk about this movie also at the end. The first 2 movies in this franchise were really good, really fun.
Yeah.
This one, again, it was so confused about what it wanted to be. Like...
a prequel, a sequel?
Well, not even that. Like, what genre wanted to be? Did it want to be a war movie? Did it want to be a spy movie? Did it want to be an action film?
Yeah.
Like, make up your mind. Number 3, West Side Story.
Okay.
Ugh. Yeah, that was hard to say.
Which you're a fan of musicals.
I am.
Yeah.
I like a good musical, but that one just it was just laughable. It was laughable. Number 2. I'm surprised this wasn't on your list. Halloween Kills.
Oh, I completely forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Like when I was going through the movies, I'd write them down and thinking through throughout the week, thinking about it, or like the past couple of days, and it was on there. But then I, for whatever reason, took it off. But yeah that's
Yeah.
the first one was decent.
Yeah, the first one was fine, but then you take Mike Myers and Laurie Strode and completely separate them the whole movie. It's like, why?
Yeah.
Like, it all of a sudden it became like this Frankenstein's monster story with the townspeople going after this killer. It's like
that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not what Halloween
that are
is.
stuck in a hospital.
And then number 1, Black Widow.
Okay.
Yeah, talk about a disappointing film. I mean, you've been building up to this. People have been wanting a solo Black Widow film, and the Marvel's just like, no, it's not gonna work. Wonder Woman comes out. Oh, it will work. Here, let's do ours now.
Yeah.
And at this point, and it's like, okay, well, now let's put this movie out after the character has died.
Yeah, which makes perfect sense.
Okay. This should have come out right after Civil War, but
yeah, that's where it fit in the timeline.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my...
Man, that's more of a disappointing list. Yeah. Like ones that had like all this potential and then just were pretty lackluster.
Yep.
So for best,
yes.
Now that we've gotten rid of now that we've got that bad taste out of our mouth, let's get to some of these good movies.
Shake off the stink.
Yes, exactly. Honorable mentions, Tick Tick Bang, which I'll talk about later. Old Henry, Nobody, which I thought was made by the same guys that did John Wick franchise.
It's on my list.
And Boss Level.
Okay.
Yeah. So getting to number 10, Ray and the Last Dragon.
That's funny. That's my number 10 too.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah! Nice. I thought it was really well done. I loved the fight scenes. The choreography was fantastic. The story was, it had some funny, heartfelt moments.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number 10. Number 9, Shang Chi. Is that I was hoping
it is on my list. It's it's number 4 for me.
Okay. Matt, so far, first 2 right off the bat, yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed this one. It was kind of different.
After coming off Black Widow and the Eternals.
Yeah, this was a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, out of the 3, this one was like, okay, this is the MCU. It should be fun.
It did, just because I wasn't used to it. It did seem a little different than some of the norm.
Yeah.
Like a Marvel, but that was also something that I liked about it. That it was a little bit different. That it explored a different direction with this.
Yeah, for sure.
Number 8, Free Guy. This reminded me of Ready Player One. It was funny, campy. He did a fantastic job because he didn't do too much of his own normal stuff that he did. He had to play this more by the numbers kind of a character until he actually finally branches out. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Number 7, No Time to Die. For the 10-year Daniel Craig, I thought it was a nice send-off.
That was an honorable mention on my list.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I thoroughly enjoyed this film. It wasn't the best one, like we'd talked about before. It was kind of one of those ones in the middle, but it was still a nice kind of send-off, and I loved how it tied a lot of other characters and tied this whole universe together.
Yeah.
That was the first set of James Bond films that actually felt like a complete story.
Yeah. Yeah, they put a nice bow on it.
They did. Yeah, for sure. Number 6, this came out towards the beginning of before the pandemic. Judas and the Black Messiah.
It's number 9 on my
really?
list. Yep.
Nice. I really enjoyed this movie. The acting was fantastic. It was cool to see that Eric from that 70s show is still alive and can act.
Yes.
Number 5, Cruella. I went in
It's number 6
Really?
on my list.
Okay.
Yep.
See, like right smack dab kind of in the middle
Yeah.
area. Yeah, for sure. Visually, it was cool. I loved what they did with the story. This actually made me see that, oh yeah, they can do a villain story in Disney, live action.
And I also remind you that Emma Stone's a really good actor.
Oh yeah. No, she knocked it out of the park for sure. Number 4, Ghostbusters.
It's number 3.
Really?
On mine,
Okay.
yep.
Yeah. Like, it brought back those old Ghostbuster feels.
It did. Yep.
There was a couple of things that didn't necessarily need to be in it, like the marshmallow guys.
Sure.
But for the most part, I thought they did a great job with it. It brought back those feels.
Yeah, again, it was like a nice little bow on the Ghostbuster franchise.
Exactly.
Yep.
Number 3, Stillwater.
Okay.
This was... It's one of those...
I still need to see this.
You do. You forget sometimes, and we've talked about this before, like after watching Ford v Ferrari.
Don't sleep on Matt Damon.
Yeah, don't sleep on him. Dude, the dude can act.
Yes, he can.
Yeah. It's a great story and definitely worth a watch.
Okay.
Number 2, Spider-Man.
That's top of my list.
Yeah.
Yep. Number 2, really? I'm sure to see what number 1 is.
Yeah. So, like, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it felt like an MCU movie, and I loved the... Well, are we able to say anything?
Yeah, at this point, yeah.
Right? Okay. The way that the Peters played off of each other, like, it was...
Oh, it was great.
It was awesome. Yeah, it was fantastic. But my number 1 spot goes to King Richard.
Oh.
I honestly think that Will Smith's going to win an Academy Award for this film.
It is on my list as well.
It was, like, the acting was fantastic. The only thing, I've got a little bit of a bitter taste in my mouth about this movie, but it's only because I was talking to my mom, and she was saying she loved the movie, but she thought it was interesting how they didn't mention anything about his other family, because I guess he had a family before them, and then he'd moved over to this family, had a couple more kids, and, completely disowned the other people. So even in the news, his other family in real life was kind of saying how, disheartened they were about the whole thing. And
well, I mean, when your second family, you raise 2 of the best tennis players of all time.
Yeah.
You kind of forget about the first one. Who are probably like,
But keep in mind this,
something.
like the acting. And that's where I had to put this one at the top, because the acting was fantastic. Yeah. And you have to remember, this is King Richard. This is his version of the events. Right. And
yeah, it's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. So yeah, he's gonna make all of these things where it's just like, hey, my kids always listened to me. They never went out of line, when that's definitely not the case.
Yeah. I'd love to hear Venus and Serena's version of that story.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. But that's my number 1 spot.
All right. Cool. Well, we had a lot of the same. So I'll run through these real quick. Had to give my 2 cents. Ray and the Last Dragon, number 10.
Yeah.
Visually, visually it was really cool. The story, I think, was really good. It was very original, which is nice.
Yeah.
Even though Awkwafina was the voice of the dragon, I'm a little bored of her, but yeah, it was still really good. I mean, when you compare it to and it's an honorable mention on my list, to Luca or Encanto.
Yeah.
It was just better.
Yeah.
It was a better film.
Yep.
Also, a couple other honorable mentions. Cop Shop.
Okay.
No Time to Die, like I said. I think that's... Yeah. See others. Okay. Number 9, Judas and the Black Messiah.
Okay.
Like I said, the acting was incredible. It made me at least afterwards go and kind of research who these people actually were. And,
same.
Yeah. Number 8, King Richard.
Okay.
On your recommendation, I went and saw that.
Yeah.
And that was I still had my Will Smith fatigue, but, he kind of disappeared in that part. You kind of forgot it was him.
You really did, yeah.
Number 7, Nobody. It was just fun.
It was.
You know, it was a fun, violent film that you could just shut your brain off and just enjoy.
Yeah.
Number 6, Cruella.
Okay.
Talked about this movie ad nauseum, but it just it's a fresh take to this character, and again, visually, it's really cool.
Yeah.
1970s London fashion scene. I mean, it was also a very interesting setting there.
Yes.
Number 5, The Suicide Squad.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Again, it's
number
like
2, huh? Yeah.
It's like Nobody. It's just a fun, violent movie that you can just shut your brain off and just enjoy. It was kind of ridiculous.
Oh,
and they knew it was ridiculous.
Yeah, and they embraced it for sure.
Yeah, and they embraced the ridiculousness of it. Number 4, Shang Chi. Again, it was just this was getting back to form as far as the MCU films go, but at the same time, it was opening the door to like this new MCU
mystical universe. Yeah.
Like we're getting it. Like Black Widow was kind of closing the door on the old MCU. Shang-Chi was kind of opening the door to what is coming.
Yes.
Yeah. Number 3, Ghostbusters Afterlife. It just, man, hit you right in the feels.
It does.
In that nostalgia bone. Plus it had, Paul Rudd, which was awesome. I'm sure it's been long enough so you can spoil it. It had the original Ghostbusters at the end there, which was...
Yeah. And I even didn't mind that he didn't, speak at all.
Yeah, Egon.
Mm-hmm.
At the very end, yeah. When he showed up as a ghost. Number 2, Being the Ricardos.
Okay.
I think I talked about this last week or 2 weeks ago. I'm just such a huge fan of I Love Lucy in that TV show, and so it was great to kind of see a story about the behind the scenes of what was going on during that time. And again, Nicole Kidman just killed it. I mean, it was an incredible performance. Can't say enough. And then number 1, Spider-Man: No Way Home.
It's a good one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just felt good to sit there and watch it and to see all the Spider-Mans up on screen.
Yes.
That we've been watching since 2002.
Yeah.
It was cool to get kind of a little wrap up on those guys.
What they've been up to.
Yeah. all the villains that came through and the multiverse, and it was a lot of fun. It was a really fun film. I might go see it again. Maybe today.
Before it's out of theaters?
Yeah.
It's definitely worth watching on the big screen.
Yes. Okay. That's it. So there you go. Our best and worst films of 2021. There were some films out there that were just okay in the middle, like Last Night in Soho.
Yeah.
That was fine. I was just thinking of some other ones. I just forgot.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you'll look at it and you can actually see there were some really good movies at the very beginning. Then there's this kind of hiatus, and then all of a sudden it starts picking up steam. And by the end of the year, they were dropping box off it. They were dropping some good movies.
Well, it's like January, February, and March. You get the movies that they want to nominate for awards.
Right.
Like the indie movies and the Oscar bait movies come out during that time, and then you kind of lag a little bit. You get maybe a couple good summer films.
Yeah. I was even surprised at how well the streaming services did with their movies that they dropped.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, I know what you mean.
I mean, the favorite one, my number 2, being the Ricardos, I watched that on Amazon Prime.
Yeah. You would if you would have said at the first of the year, hey, one of your favorite movies of the year is going to be on Amazon Prime. No.
Okay, I guess. All right. Then let's get to Revs and Rex. So I talked about it briefly in my list, but The Kingsman. This is a prequel to The Kingsman 1 and 2, and it stars Ralph Fiennes as basically, essentially, the King's Man, the guy that kind of starts the organization. So, basically the premise is... in 1902, British aristocrat Orlando, Duke of Oxford, and his wife Emily and their young son Conrad visit a concentration camp in South Africa during the Boer War. While working for the Red Cross, spoilers, Emily is killed during a Boer sniper attack on the camp, causing Orlando, a sworn pacifist, to determine that the world needs someone to head off such conflicts before they occur. Then part of the story becomes his son, Conrad, ends up joining the army, which he does not want him to do because it was World War I and just like everybody was dying. And so during the same time, there's this kind of shadow organization a la Spectre and James Bond that's starting to place certain political people in seats of power.
Okay.
Or the right hand of these people in power so they can kind of, whisper in their ear about what to do. And I like the time period. I really like movies that are set during like World War I. I think that's a really interesting period of time in humanity.
Yeah.
But this one, like I said, it doesn't know what it wants to be. It doesn't know if it wants to be a spy film. It doesn't know if it wants to be a World War I film. It doesn't know, if it wants to be just a straight action film. Like, it just throws all that in at once, and it just gets so messy that it just kind of loses what it's trying to say, if that makes sense. Because you can't have these, heartfelt moments of loss during the war, then all of a sudden turn around and it's this spy mission with gadgets and stuff. Like, it's such a sharp juxtaposition that it's weird. It feels weird. And it's like you get all these little winks and nods to the past, like, oh, here's Rasputin. If you know your history, you know Rasputin. Or here's Vladimir Lenin. If you know your history, you know him. And it's... you just kind of lost me.
Dang.
Yeah. The last third was kind of cool when the King's men kind of started doing their thing. That was pretty cool. And the last fight scene was kind of cool, but up until then, it was just kind of boring.
Dang.
I kept thinking, like, when are they going to King's Man here?
Right.
Like, when is this going to happen? Because we're almost done with the film, and there's been no King's Manning going on. Alright, so out of 5 suits, I'm giving it like 1.5.
Oh, wow, okay.
The setting's kind of cool, and like I said, there's a couple cool fight scenes, but overall, it's pretty boring.
That is very unfortunate. Yeah. Well, if it makes you feel any better, I've got a fantastic review for you. This is Tick, Tick, Boom. So this playwright, Jonathan Larson, played by Andrew Garfield, it takes place 8 days before his birthday in 1990. He's kind of a starving artist, and he's been working on this play for about 8 years, and he is on his last dime, but he's banking on this one performance that he's going to do. Somebody's going to pick it up, and it's going to go on to be in Broadway. Mm-hmm. He's dealing with it. Well, it kind of gave me Whiplash vibes, where he was putting his career ahead of his girlfriend when his girlfriend is also advancing in her career at the same time.
Okay.
and the dude is very driven and very eccentric, and but the music, because he can come up with a song about anything and everything, and he's like extremely talented, and he knows what he wants to be, but then he's also being pushed in other directions to get like an actual paying job, but he's banking on this so much so that he ends up putting in this 2-week notice at his current job, and like you feel the tension. You feel like if he doesn't succeed here, the dude's gonna like snap or boom, something bad's gonna happen to this guy, and they towed that line so perfectly. And Andrew Garfield, he can act. Like he knocked it out of the park for sure. Even the supporting cast, I thought they did a phenomenal job. The songs were pretty catchy, and I found myself like just kind of I don't know, getting swept up into this whole world that they had created.
Okay.
There was something else I was gonna make mention. Yeah, this is one of those films where it puts everything into perspective, and it's just like, you gotta try to succeed, or like at least go for your dreams. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Out of 5 musical notes, I think I'm at a 4. I was at like to begin with, and like after like finishing the film, it's kind of interesting. They actually tell you what happens with his career moving forward. I don't want to spoil anything, but
okay.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a watch.
All right. Another movie that ended up on my most disappointing list.
Yeah. Which I'm surprised. Like the 2 movies that you went out and seen ended up on this list.
Yeah. Nightmare Alley. Now, I believe this is kind of a remake of a 1947 film. A 1947 noir film. This is directed by Guillermo del Toro. And it stars some pretty big names here. You got Bradley Cooper, Cate Blanchett, Rooney Mara, Paul Anderson, Toni Collette, Willem Dafoe, Ron Perlman, Richard Jenkins, David Strathairn. Like, it's Tim Blake Nelson. Like, it's got a really good cast and a really good director. Fortunately, much like The Kingsman, it doesn't know what it wants to be.
Right.
They're trying to make an old 1940s noir film, and I get that. And so basically, Bradley Cooper plays a guy who commits a crime, and in order to escape that crime, he essentially joins a circus. Now, when he does, he meets up with this couple that used to do like mentalist acts back in the day, and so he starts to learn their tricks of the trade, essentially.
Right.
And he takes that and then catapults himself to this amazing career of being a mentalist. Now, because of that, he kind of gets involved with some shady people, and things go awry. I'll leave it that way. But I've been seeing commercials, people saying, "Oh, the critics nominated film for best film this year, Nightmare Alley."
Yeah.
Like, why? I mean, the acting's fine, but you don't need to do much acting when it comes to this type of film, because, it's very dour. It's very, everybody's very,
depressed?
Yeah. Let's put it that way. Yeah. It's a good way to put it.
Like, it's easy to play depressed. We're all depressed, people.
Yeah, that's not hard. But it doesn't know if it wants to be, again, like a crime drama or a film about, what really goes on behind the scenes of the circus back in the day, or, if it's going to be this couple's story, him and Rooney Mara, like kind of this romantic story. Like, they just don't know. They just kind of boiled it all into one film.
Yeah.
Like, here you go.
Enjoy.
Yeah. It just it's not a film you're gonna remember. Put it that way.
Which is unfortunate because Del Toro, like, I still look at him as a fantastic director.
He is.
But it comes across like he's turning into the next M. Night Shyamalan.
Right. Well, and this is so out of what he's usually done. Like, this is more of a straightforward story.
Yeah.
Where he's, the guy that's usually doing, like, fantasy and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Pan's Labyrinth, Hellboy. But this one just kind of falls flat for me. So, out of 5 geeks, which had a very different meaning in the circus, by the way, than it does now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 2. I mean, the strength of the cast and the acting, is actually, it's fairly good, but they just suffer from a kind of a bad story. So,
dang.
Yeah.
One final review.
Oh, I do have a recommendation.
Yes.
Yeah.
LetterKenny, like, if you felt like you were falling off the bandwagon on this television show that is now in its 10th season, LetterKenny season 10 is a home run in my book. I feel like they got back to true form. If you're unfamiliar with what even LetterKenny is, which I thought was weird, like, you hadn't even heard of this show beforehand.
Nope.
It's this small, LetterKenny is a small podunk town up in Canada near Quebec, and it's the adventures of these 4 individuals and this small town. They're pretty witty, sharp, but they do stupid shit, and it's great. And
okay.
But yeah, season 10. The only thing, like, my only gripe with the season 10 is typically in most seasons they'll have some sort of conflict that gets resolved in the final episode. This one felt like it pretty much ended abruptly, which wasn't a problem. Like, the last episode was fine and all, but I was just like, hold on, wait, was that really the end? Okay. So they're definitely continuing on. I'm not sure how many seasons they're gonna have of this show, but if you like stupid, funny, random, witty humor, like, definitely check it out.
Is it kind of like in the same vein of, like, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia type of humor, or?
Yeah. Like a shortened version of it.
Okay.
But it's worth a watch. Out of 5 Bloody Marys, I'm going to give it a 3. It's right smack dab, like, kind of, like, a little bit better than in the middle. Yeah.
Okay.
There you have it. And then you said you had a recommendation?
Yes. I actually have a comic book recommendation.
Oh, okay.
I bought a few comic books during this last week. I'm trying to get back into that. This is, I don't know what volume this is, but it's Batman Superman number 22. Mark your calendars. Now, this story stars Calendar Man, kind of an obscure Batman villain.
Yeah.
Who finds himself all of a sudden transported to the dimension that Mr. Mxyzptlk is at.
The only time that I've ever, like, really heard of the Calendar Man, I think he was in the animated series, wasn't he, for a minute? But I know for sure he was in the Long Halloween.
Long Halloween. Yep. Yeah, that's where he really kind of became popular.
Right.
So he gets transported. Mr. Mxyzptlk transports him and says, I'm going to do something for you. He says, I'm going to let you see the world the way I do and control it the way I do. And so what ends up happening is all of a sudden Calendar Man realizes that he's in a comic book. And he's going, my life is nothing but, this whole world is nothing but just boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he realizes that he can manipulate things around in these boxes. So, for example, if you see here, he takes on these couple of guys, and you see what he does.
Oh, wow.
He's attacking them up from one box and attacking them down below.
Oh, that's legit.
To the other box.
Yeah.
because he can see what we're seeing with all these boxes. And so it's really clever. Like, see, on this page, he's trying to decide what to do. Over the next page, you see the Batcave, and he's looking like, oh, look, it's the Batcave. Awesome.
Interesting. There's never been a character that's broken out of the fourth wall.
I don't think so. I mean, maybe Mr. Mxyzptlk did. Well, and Deadpool, which I think is what you're talking about. Which I would say Bugs Bunny has been doing it since the 30s. But hey.
I love that, like, that moment of clarity right there. It's like, oh, that's what he's, like, aiming at. But, no, it does look cool.
Because he's listening into other people's conversations on other pages. And
with somebody with that kind of power, it would be really giving it to that dude. Like, he could do some pretty bad stuff. Is it like a complete story?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a one-off. It's just kind of a filler. Like in this panel when he's punching him with all the other. Punching them all.
Yeah.
He's using every box to punch him, and yeah.
What was the name of this one again?
It's called Mark Your Calendars.
Oh, okay.
Superman Batman number 22. It's just kind of a clever little story, and like I said, it's just a one-off filler comic, but I thought it was really good. It was really well done.
Nice.
So out of 5 magic pens, I'm gonna give it like I'm probably like a 3.
Okay.
It's worth picking up and reading.
Yeah.
If you want. All right. That's going to do it for the main episode this week, kids.
I do have an awesome DLC.
Do you?
Yep.
Okay. So if you're on Patreon and want to listen to our DLC, that's apparently going to be awesome, head to patreon.com/WorldWarG. Or if you just want to listen to the episodes themselves, head to worldwarg.podbean.com. We're also on social media. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok. Just search World War G. You can also buy our merchandise at myspreadshop.com/World War G, or just put World War G in the subject line and hit shopping, and you should see some of our merchandise that way. You can also email us anytime,
day or night,
at world. Hang on. I've realized that I think I've been giving the wrong email address. So let me get the right one. worldwargpod@gmail.com. That's the one. worldwargpod@gmail.com. So, this has been World War G. That has been AJ.
That has been Troy.
Stay geeky, my friends.